Hello friends, I am Dr. P. K. Paul. Welcome to my channel. Let's think about life differently and change it. So friends, the book I will read today is called The Magic of Thinking Big. Before starting today's video, I inform you that the link of other chapters of this book will be given at description. You can view them from there. So let's begin. How to think big. Recently, I was talking with an employment specialist of a large labor industry organization in the country. He visits college campuses for 4 months every year to recruit fresh graduates for his company's junior staff training program. In his speech, it seemed that he was a little disappointed in the use of those who had to talk to him on the job. Most days we interview 8 to 12 graduating class kids, many of whom are quite interested in working with us. One thing I want to be sure of during the test and interview is the candidate's motivation and dedication. We want to know, do those students have the ability to manage major projects, take charge of branch offices or organizations, or join important positions in companies in the next few years. I've been disappointed by the personal intentions of most of the students I've talked to. You'd be surprised, he said, adding, several 22-year-old candidates are only interested in our retirement plan. The second question I hear most often is, where do I need to travel? Most of the candidates these days, it does not understand the difference between success and safety. Employing such candidates is a risk for the company, isn't it? I don't understand why these young people are so conservative, so narrow-minded about the future. Opportunities are constantly increasing. This country is advancing in science and labor industry. Our population is growing rapidly. Now is the time for Americans to become energetic. With so many people confining themselves to trivial thoughts, the competition for good and productive livelihoods is greatly diminished. Success cannot be measured by inches or pounds, college degrees or family traditions. The measure of a person's thoughts determines his success. Now let's see how to increase the size of thinking, imagination. Have you ever asked yourself, where is my greatest weakness? Perhaps the greatest weakness of man is self-deception. This inferiority manifests itself in many ways. John may have seen a job ad in the newspaper, but he doesn't apply because he thinks, I deserve it. No, what about that? Or Jim wants to be friends with John but doesn't call John for fear of rejection. Tom knows Mr. Although Richards may be a good customer for his products, Tom does not contact him. He thinks Mr. Richards so much. Big man, will you meet him again? Pete is filling out a job application. A question, how much salary do you expect to start? Pete writes a paltry sum in response, because he feels he doesn't deserve as much as he wants. For thousands of years, philosophers and scholars have advised, know thyself. But it seems that most people have understood the meaning of these information in this way, just know your own weakness, disability. Most self-analysis only reveals a long list of faults, disabilities, and weaknesses. It is good to be aware of your disabilities, they can be corrected. But if you only think about weakness, you will not be able to move forward. You will make yourself worthless. Let me tell you a way to properly evaluate yourself. I've seen them applied in training sessions for executives and salespeople. Very effective indeed. 1. Find out your 5 special qualities. Enlist the help of a few friends who can evaluate you, your spouse, your superiors, professors. Choose some sensible people who will tell you the truth. Qualities that often count are education, experience, technical skills, looks, well-established family life, attitude and behavior, personality, ability to initiate something new. 2. Then, next to each quality, Name 3 people who have been very successful but may not have the same quality as you. After that you will see that you are better than many successful people in at least one thing. It has a clear conclusion. You are much bigger than you think you are. Now become such a big person in real life. Think yourself as big as you really are. Never forget, deceive yourself. A man who uses steady or more difficult synonyms instead of blind or prannoy bonita to mean sneaky may have a large vocabulary, but is his thinking capacity also abundant? Maybe not people who use incomprehensible words and language, which ordinary people may have difficulty understanding, are probably just talking big and trying to overwhelm others. Their thinking ability may be very limited. It does not matter how many words a person uses to check their vocabulary. The most important aspect of the collection of words is the extent to which the words, and sentences that he uses have influenced his thinking and the thinking of others. No one key thing, we don't care about words or phrases. Our thoughts are expressed in the form of pictures and images. Words are only the medium of expression of thought. As we speak, the amazing machine called the mind automatically shapes words and sentences into pictures in the imagination. Each word, phrase creates a different image in the mind. If someone tells you, Jim bought a new split-level house, imagine the imaginary scenario. How big thinking, Sam! What emerges is quite different from the hypothetical scenario of saying, Jim bought a new ranch. Names used for different things, words used to describe different products make the mental picture more clear. See, when you speak or write, you are projecting certain images into the minds of others, and the image that is created will determine your and others' reactions. Consider, addressing a group, it's sad to say we've failed. What did the rest see? By using that word, failed, everyone saw failure, felt the despair and sadness associated with failure. But if you said, maybe it's better to do it the other way, everyone would be encouraged, ready to try again. Suppose you said, there's a problem. Others will develop an imaginary picture of an insurmountably difficult problem. But if you say, we have a challenge in front of us, it will inspire everyone to overcome challenges. Or say to a group of people, a lot has been spent, and people will think that a lot of money has been spent that cannot be compensated, whereas if you say, we have invested a lot of money, people will think that the investment will pay off later, which is a sweet scene. The bottom line is, contemplative personalities who paint optimistic, progressive, constructive pictures in the minds of themselves and others, big thoughts. To do this, words and sentences must be used so that the imagination is illuminated with the light of great constructive hope. Reading the examples on the left below brings to mind pessimistic, non-religious, pessimistic thoughts. On the right is a hopeful, clear, bright description of the same situation. Read them and think, what kind of picture comes to my mind? Phrases that evoke frivolous, non-religious thoughts. 1. No use, we lost. 1. We haven't lost yet. Let's try again. Let's do it again. 2. I tried this business, failed, no more. 2. I failed at my own fault, try again. 3. Tried and seen, all these products do not sell, no one wants them. 3. Can't sell the products yet. Good products, I know, need to find a new way to sell them. 4. Market conditions are dire. In purchasing power, consider that 75% are sold. You should move away now. 4. 25% of the market remains. Might work, I'm trying. 5. Their order was so small, drop it. Words that create big hopeful pictures. 5. Their order was small. Let's plan the sale according to their needs. Big thinking is drinking. Phrases that evoke frivolous, non-religious thoughts. 6. It will take 5 years for your company to be well established. A lot of waiting, except me. 6. 5 years is nothing. It will take 30 years to be at the top. 7. Everything is in favor of rivals. How can I survive such a competition? 7. Rivalry is strong, but no one has all the advantages. Let's find a way to defeat them together. 8. No one will buy that product. 8. Even if no one buys that product, it can be sold by making some changes. 9. Shares can be bought when the market goes down. 9. Let's invest now. Invest in financial stability, not recession. 10. I am old, young, this job is not suitable for me. 10. Age is less, so I am getting benefits. 11. It will not work, I can prove it. Reflection, dark, gloomy image, despair, sadness, failure. Words that create big, hopeful pictures. 11. It will work, I can prove it. Reflection, bright, hope, success, victory, joy. 4 ways to learn ambitious vocabulary. 4 ways to build ambitious vocabulary are: 1. Use big, hopeful, happy sentences and words to express your feelings. If someone asks, "How are you?" and you reply with, "I'm so tired, head, ugh, I don't feel good if it's Saturday," only making yourself sicker. Practice saying these words, although the language is simple, but there is a lot of power in it. Whenever someone asks, "What's up?" or "How are you?" answer, "Very well, and you?" or say, "I'm fine," or "I'm fine." Whenever you get a chance, say that you are fine, you will feel good, and everyone will know you as a happy person. 2. Use bright, cheerful, pleasant words and phrases to describe others. Regularly use good, big hope words for your friends, acquaintances. Whenever you talk to someone in the third person, use a complimentary phrase for that third person, such as, "The gentleman is a very good man, I hear he is very successful." Consciously and carefully refrain yourself from using words that demean others. Because sometimes that third person will surely know about your comments, then he can also look down on you. 3. Constructive, affirmative language to encourage others. Eat up praise people even if you get a little chance. Everyone you know wants to hear compliments. Say something special but kind to your spouse every day. Notice your colleagues, appreciate them. Emotional appreciation can be a catalyst for success. Apply it properly. Use again and again. Compliment others on their looks, work, achievements, their families. Use constructive words to describe the plan. When someone says, "Great news. We are getting a good opportunity," but then they are listening very cheerfully. But if they hear, "We have to do the work whether we like it or not," then the mind becomes disheartened. There is no enthusiasm in the work, so everyone does the work in the same way. All were encouraged by the promise of victory. Win everyone's support by promising victory. Build palaces, don't dig graves. Think not only of what is, but also of what can be done. A thoughtful learned man practices seeing not only what is visible, but also what can be done. I give 4 examples to illustrate the point. Why is real estate so expensive? A very successful businessman who specializes in rural real estate told me that profits can be made where there is nothing or little. 1. My friend said, "Most of the countryside here is miserable, not attractive at all. The reason for my success is me. I am not selling the land as it is. I draw up the entire sales plan based on a hypothetical picture of how the land could turn out. If I say, the land is XX acres XX miles away, the buyer might not be interested, he won't want to buy that land. But what to do with that same land? If it can be explained correctly, the potential buyer will surely become interested. Opening a small briefcase and showing me a file, the friend said to me, "This place was recently listed to us. This land is 43 miles from the city. The house is in a dilapidated condition, it has not been farmed for 5 years. Now look what I have done. I have visited the place several times. The surrounding farms, I saw how far the place is from the present highway and the planned highway. I asked myself, what are the characteristics of the area? Found 3 possibilities, they are, showed me the plan. Each plan was clearly typed and quite comprehensively explained. One plan suggested turning the entire elata into stables with equestrian facilities. Reasons were given as to why it would be a great stable. The city is growing, everyone is interested in sports and outdoor activities. There is a lot of money for leisure activities, the roads are good. According to the plan, several horses can be kept in the farm, which will be the profit from horse riding. Easily conceivable. The layout of the horse riding and stables was so clear and remappable that I could see in my mind about 24 people riding around it on horseback. Similarly, in the second plan, the enterprising salesman made a clear plan to set up a plantation and poultry farm in the plantation and agriculture. When talking to potential buyers, I don't have to go to great lengths to explain how attractive this land is. I can easily convince the customer that the area can be an attractive source of income. Besides selling more farms and ranches faster, I have another advantage in selling real estate. The land can be sold at a higher price than the competition. Because not only the price of the land but also the customers will want to pay for my imagination. So when I sell my land to and ask for help, and my commission will increase with every sale. The point is this, try to see not only what is valuable, but also what is seemingly invisible, what is possible. Imaginative thinking adds value to all. A meditative person can also imagine pictures of the future. His thoughts are not limited to the present. 2. How much is the customer worth? I may be a little old-fashioned, said a department store executive at a session of merchandise managers. But I think the best way to win over a customer is to be friendly. Once in our store I saw a salesperson arguing with a customer. He got angry and left and never came back. Later, the salesperson was telling his coworker, "I'm not willing to waste my time on a $1.98 customer, rummaging through the entire store to get what he wants. That kind of customer is worth nothing." I walked away like that, said the executive, but I couldn't put it out of my mind. It's important, I thought. When our salespeople are putting customers in the $1.98 national category, it can be ignored. No, I immediately decided to change it. I called our research director to find out, on average, how much a customer has bought from us in the past year. I was surprised by the number of our research director. A sample customer purchases $362 worth of items from our store, according to the account. Immediately I called a meeting of all the supervisors and explained to them the value of a customer. When I explained to them that the value of a customer is not based on a one-time purchase, but on how many things they buy throughout the year, our sales increased. Quote, "This retail thing applies to any business. Real shame is found in second, third time, i.e. repeated sales. Oftentimes, the first few sales go nowhere. Check not only what customers are buying today, but also their purchasing power. If you give proper respect to the customer, he will become a regular and good customer. If he is disappointed, he will go elsewhere and buy things. A student told me an incident. He explained why he would never go back to a specialty food store. The student said, "A new food shop opened a few weeks ago. One day I thought let's eat there for lunch. Now I have to count my money, check the price of things before buying. The shop where non-vegetarian food is available with several tempting dressings. I saw the turkey. The price is also very affordable, only 38 cents. When I got to the cash register, the checker looked at my tray and said, 1.09. He wanted 49 cents instead of 39 cents. So I showed him the card that said 39 cents. At this he angrily said, "What do I have to do with what's written there? Look at today's price list. It's written wrong. You have to pay 49 cents. I explained to him that the price of the turkey was 39 cents, so I bought it. If it had been 49 cents, I would have bought something else." He said, "You'll have to pay 49 cents, won't go." It is the result of small thinking. The employee saw 10 cents, not realizing the potential for $250. 3. The story of the blind shepherd. It's surprising how often people don't see the profit potential. A few years ago, a young Gowala wanted to be our customer. Told him that we have milk supply system and we are satisfied with their work. But I asked the boy to meet the woman next door. To this he said, "I have spoken, they take only 1 quart of milk in 2 days. Taking so little milk will not do me any good." Maybe. I said, "But have you noticed while talking to our neighbors that their demand for milk will increase within a month? Their families will grow soon, so the demand will also increase." The boy looked stunned for a few moments, then said, "I am really blind." Now in those 2 days, the family buys 7 quarts of milk from another visionary cowherd. Their first child, a boy, now has 2 more brothers and a sister. Heard another one is coming soon. Tell me how blind we can be. Go beyond what you can see and see as much as possible. A teacher who thinks Jimmy is a rude boy will never be able to help him become a good boy. But the teacher who gets past Jimmy's current appearance and sees how much potential he has will reap the rewards. Driving through skid rows, many will see disheveled, dejected faces of drunks. But a few devoted people may find among them other people who can be made new good citizens. Because the eyes of those devoted people can find such people, they can restore drunken, hopeless people. 4. How to evaluate yourself. A few weeks ago, after a training session, a young man came to see me, wanting to talk separately. I knew him. The childhood of this 26-year-old youth was spent in misery. Even after becoming an adult, he had to suffer for a few years. I also knew that he was working hard to build a strong future. We quickly solved some of his technical problems while drinking coffee. And then the discussion went on, what should be done in the future by those who have little property. There was a strong comment hidden in his simple answer. Look, I only have $1,200 or less in the bank. The job I do as a rate clerk doesn't pay much, doesn't have much responsibility. My car is 4 years old and my wife and I live on the 3rd floor of a shabby apartment. But, Professor, he said, what I don't have is by no means. I claim that there will be no obstacles in my way forward. The word was scarred in my mind. I asked him to tell everything. He said, nowadays I have learned one thing by observing and watching people very closely. Those who have nothing special only see their present form. They only see the dark present, they cannot see the future. One of the best examples of this is my neighbor. He constantly complains about low-paying jobs, home plumbing and other expenses, other people's fortunes, piles of doctor's bills. Always reminding himself of his own poverty, he thinks he'll be broke all his life. Such an attitude as if the rest his life will be spent in prison in that dilapidated apartment. My friend was speaking her mind. After a moment of silence, he started again at night, looking at myself. I feel very disappointed, the old house, little salary, spending the day eating hamburgers in the cheap house. When I stand in front of the mirror, I see a disappointed, unsuccessful person. I will be honest all my life, disappointed, unsuccessful. So, in the next few years, I've decided to look at the business I want to be. I don't want to be a rate clerk, I want to be an executive. Not a run-down apartment, I want a new, nice house outside the city. I imagine myself like that. I don't feel insignificant anymore, I feel big and successful, and I have proof of that. This is a unique way to increase your value, isn't it? This young man is earning fast and big. Because he has learned the motto of success, what is not so important. What you want and plan to get is the most valuable, the most important. As we value ourselves, so does the world. Not only what is there, but what can be done, what is possible. Tell me the way to develop that strange ability. Listen. I call this the price increase exercise. 1. Learn to adapt to the price of everything. Village real estate. Consider the example. Ask yourself, think of ideas to increase the value of this home or business. Any vacant lot, home or business, is valued according to its utility. 2. Learn to value people. As you move up the ladder of success, your tasks will also focus on personal development. Ask, what can I do to increase the value of subordinates? What can I do to increase their performance? To bring out the best qualities in any person, one must first find those qualities. 3. Learn to increase your value. Interview yourself every day. Ask the question, what can be done today to increase your performance, value? Imagine what you can become than what you are now. Then automatically, find ways to develop those potential abilities. Give it a try. A retired owner-manager of a medium-sized printing press with 60 employees told me a novel way to find his successor. 5 years ago, said my friend, I needed an accountant for my bookkeeping and routine office work. The one hired was Harry, aged 26. Although he knew nothing about printing or printing, according to his records he was a skilled accountant. A year and a half ago, we appointed him as the company's president and general manager when I retired. Looking back on those days now, Harry's made that show the best of them all. Not just writing checks or keeping records, the employee took a real active interest in the work of the entire company. Whenever there was an opportunity to help out, he was quick to step up. The year Harry first joined us, we had a number of employees leave the company. Harry brought me a proposal for a fringe refund program that promised low turnover costs. And it really paid off. Harry also did a few other things, which benefited not only his department but the entire company. After a detailed study of our production department course, he explained to me how a new machine for $30,000 could be profitable. Once our sales suffered. So, going to our sales manager, Harry said, even though I don't understand the business side of things, maybe I can help. And it was true and successful. Some of his great ideas boosted our sales. One time a new employee joined the work. Harry was very particular about his comfort and convenience. He was really enthusiastic about everything. So when I retire, the decision is naturally made to designate Harry as heir. But, don't get me wrong, my friend added, Harry never wanted to outdo me. He wasn't just trying to screw up, and he was energetic in the right sense. He never hurt anyone, never bossed around. He was real, helped others. Harry took part in the company's work as if everything affected him. We can learn a lot from Harry's example. I'm doing my job, so that's enough. Attitude is a sign of inferiority, an expression of non-religious mentality. Big thinking people consider themselves a part of the team. The team's win or loss is not separate from their own win or loss. They help as much as possible even when there is no possibility of direct and immediate reward or reward. A person who hears a problem outside his department and comments, "Don't bother with that, it's none of my business," is not qualified to lead. Practice it. Practice thinking big. Remember that the interests of the company and yours are the same. In large companies, only a few may have a selfless, genuine interest in the company's work. But it is also undeniable that only a handful of people become great and thoughtful personalities. And these handful of people are given the most responsible, high-paying positions. But many have the potential of this power, but petty, insignificant, unimportant negative thoughts block their way to success. Let's see a simple example. 1. What is required for good speech? Everyone wants the power to become good at public speaking. But this hope is fulfilled. No, most people can't stand up and present their ideas well in front of large crowds. Why? The reason is very simple. Most people tend to talk about small, insignificant things instead of big, important things. Before a speech, most people instruct themselves to stand up straight, no slouching or flailing, don't let the audience see my butt, remember, no grammar mistakes. The tie should be straight, speak clearly and loudly, but the gravedigger should not shout, "What more?" What happens when the speaker starts talking? As his list of don'ts is long, he will be scared inside. While talking, it will become noisy. You will think in your mind, "This is it, didn't I make a mistake?" That means he will fail completely. The reason for his failure is that he has focused on the relatively unnecessary, trifling aspects of good speech, neglecting the real quality of a good speaker, namely, knowledge of the subject of his speech and a strong desire to convey it. Whether the speaker is standing straight or not, whether he messed up the grammar is not the criterion to check all the good speakers. He is a good speaker who has been able to understand his words well to the audience. Many of our famous speakers. There are various minor mistakes, and the tone of someone's voice is not good. Some of America's most well-established popular speakers do not accept the old rules of, "Don't do it, don't do it." But all successful speakers have one characteristic. All of them have some special point of view which they have a strong desire to present in front of the public. So never let trifles hinder the success of your speech. 2. What is the cause of the conflict? Have you ever asked yourself why the fuss happens? About 77%. In cases where quarrels arise over trivial matters, John has returned home, he is tired and bored. Dinner did not please him, he complains. John's day wasn't that good either, so he defended himself. Where can I get chicken meat on such a low income? Listen. Or, if only I had a new stove like everyone else, I could cook well. This hurts John's self-esteem, and he angrily says, "John, it's not about the income, you don't know how to run a family well." Well, the fight started. When the fight finally ended, both of them hurled accusations at each other. In-laws, sex, money, premarital and post-marital commitments and many more. Both neighbors, worried, as they leave the battlefield. No conclusion can be reached in this, only the weapons of both sides increase. For the next war, small quarrels start from small things, thoughts, so don't indulge in quarrels, turn off. Let me tell you an effective way. Before complaining or accusing others or attacking the opposition in self-defense, ask yourself, is it necessary? In most cases the matter is optional and needs to be wrangled. No, ask yourself, he smokes cigarettes, messes up the house, forgets to put on toothpaste, comes home late. Is it worth fighting about? He's wasted money, relegated people I don't like to his house, so what? Whenever the mind wanders, ask yourself, is this important? This question will keep your house calm. It is also fruitful in office environment. Ask this question even when another car passes your house. It can be fruitful in any situation in life. 3. John got the smallest office. So lost. Speaking of several years ago, petty thinking about office work put an end to a promising and lucrative career for a young executive in the advertising world. 4 young executives of the same rank in a new office is transferred. They were given 4 offices, 3 rooms of the same size, with the same furniture. The 4th room was relatively small and unadorned. J.M.K. is given the 4th house. It hurts his self-esteem. He feels that he has been discriminated against. Thoughts of years of depression, regret, bitterness, jealousy poisoned his mind. J.1 begins to feel incomplete. Instead of cooperating and trying to harm his friends, the situation becomes increasingly sad. After 3 months, J.M. reached such a point that the management fired him, forced to do small thoughts about trivial matters. J.M.K. was delayed. As a result of this entrenched perception that he was being discriminated against, J.M. ignored the big fact that the company was getting bigger and hence the office space was becoming scarce. J.M. Considering all this, the executive who arranged the rooms might not have known which room would be given to whom, which was the smallest. J.M. But no one else in the office evaluated his power by looking at the size of his office. Little things like getting your name at the end of the departmental route seat list, or getting the 4th carbon copy of an office memo, can be frustrating. But these little things can't stop you from moving forward. Think big. 4. Stuttering can also be ignored. As a sales executive once explained to me, stuttering can't be a hindrance if you have the kind of work ethic you need. A friend of mine, also a sales executive, likes to joke a lot, although sometimes he doesn't know how to joke anymore. A few months ago, a young man called this friend of mine and applied for a job. The applicant had a stuttering problem, and my friend thought it was my fault. He told the stuttering applicant that he didn't need an employee at that moment, so he could apply to me. I said, send the boy to me. Within half an hour he appeared before me. After 2 words I understood why my joker friend had sent this applicant to me. My name is JJJK. And, she said, Mr. X asked to see you the meet. He was struggling to pronounce every word. I thought to myself, that wouldn't even sell for 90 cents on the dollar on Wall Street. I was angry with my friend but amused to see the boy. I thought I would ask a few polite questions and then tell him why it would not be possible to employ him. While talking, I realized that the boy is not stupid at all. Very smart boy. The boy is good but I don't care about his stuttering. I could not accept it. I asked one last question, what makes you think that you can sell? That means I'm learning new things very soon. AI like people. I think your company is good and I want to make PP money. 2. I know it's hard for me to speak, but it doesn't bother me, so why should it bother everyone else? After listening to his answer, I realized that he has all the qualities of a good salesman. I immediately decided to give him a chance. Now the boy is doing very well. A person whose profession is speaking cannot be hindered by stuttering or any other difficulty if he possesses the qualities of a good speaker. Follow these 3 ways to ignore the trivial. 1. Focus on the real purpose, the bigger goal. We often behave like the failed salesman who tries to convince the manager after failing to sell, but I proved the customer wrong, sir. The purpose of selling is not to become argumentative. The objective is to sell, get customers. Similarly, the purpose of marriage is happiness, peace and joy, not to win the marital battle, not to say, I just said it will happen. While working with the employees, the objective should be to find their performance, not their minor faults, fully developed. The main purpose of living with neighbors is to build a mutual love and amicable relationship, because their dog sometimes barks at night, so don't tie him up. In military parlance, even if a battle is lost, the war must not be lost, that is, the noble purpose must be remembered. Do not deviate from the main objective. 2. Ask the question, is it really important? When a destructive thought arises, first ask yourself, is there a need to get so excited about it? It's a great antidote to anger, frustration, resentment. If in a crisis, we ask ourselves, is there a need for this? Then maybe 90% of the time there won't be any brawls. 3. Don't fall into the trap of negativity. When giving speeches, solving problems, advising employees, think about the things that can make a difference, what is important. Don't waste time on trivial matters. Focus on important things. Check the shape of your thinking. Below, to the left are some common scenarios. The middle and right-hand rows compare the reactions of mean-spirited people and noble-minded people to those situations, self-examination. Try it, then judge which path you can follow. Small thoughts or larger, grander thoughts. To the target. Asterisk 2 opposite reactions to the same situation. Now you decide. Do. Situation. Attitudes of small, insignificant people. Thoughtful. The person's attitude. Expense sheet. 1. Find ways to increase income by reducing costs. 1. Choose to increase income by selling more products. Talking. 2. Criticizes friends, economic systems, companies, rivals. 2. Speaks well of friends, company, rivals. The progress. 3. Believing in downsizing or keeping the situation unchanged. 3. Interested in expansion and growth. The future. 4. Think. Future possibilities are limited. 4. The future feels like infinite possibilities. Work. 5. Wants to avoid work. 5. Always looking for new ways of working, always wanting to help others. Competition. 6. Competes with the commoners. 6. Compete with the best. Thoughtful. Attitudes of small, insignificant people. The person's attitude. Budget problem. 7. Minimizes the essentials. Find ways to save money. 7. Looking for ways to increase income, buy more essentials. Aim. 8. By targeting small. 8. Set big goals. Do without plan. 9. Make short-term plans. 9. Prepares visionary, long-term plans. Safety. 10. Concerned about security. 10. Considers safety a companion to success. Companionship. 11. Spends time in the company of insignificant people. 11. Seeks the companionship of ambitious, progressive, discerning companions. Wrong error. 12. Exaggerating even the slightest error adds to the problem unnecessarily. 12. Ignores unnecessary errors. Remember, thinking big definitely pays off. 1. Don't fool yourself. Don't belittle yourself. Find your qualities. You are a much bigger person than you think you are. Use the vocabulary of thoughtful people. Use big, bright, happy words. Use words that promise victory, hope, joy, happiness. Avoid words that evoke feelings of disappointment, failure, sadness. 3. Expand your vision. See not only what is, but also what can be, what is possible. Adaptation to content, people, and even self-worth. Do. 8. Know the larger purpose of your work. Believe me, your current job is very important. Your attitude towards this current job will affect your promotion. 5. Learn to ignore pettiness. Stay focused on the big goal. Before getting caught up in trivial matters, ask yourself, is this really important? Think big to become a big person.